Welcome to another episode of Gen Z in Manufacturing, a podcast where I interview young people about their journeys in manufacturing, how they intend to influence the industry, and what they are looking for from an employer. For this episode, I welcome Gabe Schulze, a 25-year-old industrial engineer at Path Machining and Automation. Schulze holds a bachelor's and master's in industrial engineering and has worked for Path Machining for just over 1 year. At the company, Schulze leads initiatives to optimize CNC machining operations, implement standardized processes, and improve unattended shift performance. His role includes CNC programming, process capability studies, tooling strategy, and data-driven problem solving. Before we hear from Schulze, please make sure to like and share this episode of Gen Z in Manufacturing. To view previous episodes, visit manufacturing.net. If you are a member of Gen Z and would like to discuss your experience in the manufacturing industry, please get in touch with me, Nolan Beilstein, at nolan@in.com. All right, Gabe, well, thank you for joining Gen Z in Manufacturing. I like to lead off these discussions by asking everybody what initially drew them to their current company. So how did Path Machining attract you?
Sure. Yeah. I started here just about a year ago. I moved to Minnesota about a year and a half ago. Finished up my master's degree in industrial engineering. My fiance and I moved here. We weren't really sure how long we were planning on staying here. So I kind of applied to every engineering position that kind of popped up, and I wasn't getting any responses. And so I kind of just decided to apply for general operator position to whatever shop would take me, just to get some experience in the field. And so I reached out to Path, and they offered me a full-time engineering position. So that's kind of what drew it, is that they had the position open for me. So
how has your role changed it's been about a year that you've been at Path, right? How has it changed since you began working there?
Yeah, so I originally started off working, why they hired me was to get involved with more AI and automating like tool path strategies and different machining technologies. And I've learned how to do that. I've learned how to gotten involved in a lot of different projects, from machine buy-offs to quality control to facility planning. So my role has developed quite a bit since I've been here.
And how do they keep you interested and engaged? And that's a big part of retention for young workers, and a big concern companies have. So what do they do to keep you coming back?
Mm-hmm. I would say for me personally, I'd say a variety of projects. Kind of when I walk in the morning, I don't really know what I'm going to be doing that day, which is kind of exciting. There's a lot of different projects to be working on, and I think the number one thing is that what I'm working on is value add. So I'm always working towards a goal that's going to be directly impacting the company, impacting people's lives in the company. So seeing that play out, I think, has been really rewarding, and finding a job where I can be in that position has been really, really helpful in keeping me interested and keeping me on.
What are some examples of real world impact you've seen from the work you do?
I designed a program for measuring parts, so using a visual micrometer. And so as far as quality of life for operators, they can run over to this vision system and press a button to measure a whole entire part, rather than having to, use a micrometer to measure each individual dimension. As we go higher and higher scale, larger scale manufacturing, that's been a huge impact in people's lives, which has been really cool to see.
Do you get the sense that young people prefer to work for one company for the majority of their professional career, or do you think that they will see themselves working for several companies?
So originally when I started, that was kind of my plan, was to work for this company for maybe 1 or 2 years, and then potentially move, or kind of wherever we end up. But as I've grown here and developed my skills here, I definitely see myself staying here for building more of a career, rather than a 1 to 2 year job position. So I would say, as long as the company is willing to invest in you and invest in learning opportunities and growing that individual, then people are a lot more likely to stay at these companies rather than just doing monotonous tasks all day or the same thing every day.
I've heard companies complain that young people are too quick to move on. And I think it's just because there's so many more options to young workers. I mean, were you considering any other careers in industrial engineering? What were you looking at when you were going through internships and when you were studying in college?
I would actually kind of disagree with that, because when I was looking, I couldn't find any jobs. There was everybody was asking for experience, and so it was kind of tough for finding a job in the first place. So I guess I probably just lucked out and found a company that was really willing to invest in me.
The old way of thinking was you get your first job and then you work with the same company for 40 years. And that's what boomers did, Gen X did. Millennials kind of stopped that trend. And now I'm wondering what are you hearing from some of your peers? Are they looking to move on after a couple of years, or do they see themselves working at one company for decades?
As far as the people here, I think there are probably one or two other guys my age. And I haven't heard them talking about leaving anytime soon. Even some of my peers from college, I haven't. A few of them have jumped around a little bit, but I'd say a good majority have stayed in the positions that they've landed initially. The companies that they worked for initially, it wasn't a good fit, I guess. I don't really know the whole story, but they weren't enjoying the work.
There's been a lot of talk on what the ideal work week is. Traditionally, there's the 5 8-hour days, and recently we've seen a shift to some companies implementing 4 10-hour days, and maybe even less than 40 hours total for a week. What is your ideal work week, and what do you think Gen Z's ideal work week is?
A lot of my work week is just work, which is fine. Like, sometimes work is just work, and you gotta get through it. But I would say I don't mind staying late as long as I'm working on something that's really intriguing, and if I'm benefiting people, then I'll look at the clock. It's like, oh, I'm already an hour past when I wanted to leave. Whereas if I'm working on something monotonous, I'm definitely looking at the clock every 5 minutes. So I would say my ideal work week varies. If I'm working on a really interesting project, then it'll probably be a little bit longer, and if I'm not, probably a little shorter.
Well, if you got to pick, would you like to do the 5 8 hours or the 4 10 hours?
I personally do 5 8 hours, or around that, loosely. But there are some guys here that work 4 10s. It's just a long day for me.
No, I agree. I think I'm on the 5 8s.
Yeah.
Do you have the opportunity to work remote at all?
No, my position is pretty hands-on, and so I kind of need to be here.
Do you think you would ever enjoy the opportunity to work remotely, or do you prefer to go into an office?
I prefer to be on the shop floor. Getting involved with stuff is kind of how I need to be able to interact with the things that I'm working on personally.
What's the age range of your colleagues that you work with?
There are a few guys. I think one of the youngest guys here is around 21, and I think we have a guy here that's in his late 70s, so quite a wide range.
What kind of generational gaps do you notice as you're working with some older employees regarding like how you guys approach problem solving, or just how you like to work in general? What are some differences you notice throughout generations?
There are definitely some older guys here that the best way to do things is their way to do things, and not to say that they're wrong, but there are ways being innovated, every day. And so there are definitely some people here that are pretty resistant to change, which I think is a big issue in manufacturing.
Someone told me that AI is not going to replace jobs, but people who know AI could take someone else's job. So what should workers know? How familiar should they be?
At least understanding the workflow and how using an AI really works, as far as information input and data output from the AI. At least understanding the basic concepts of what it's capable of and the limitations right now. So
it's a buzzword now in the industry.
Totally.
Everywhere I go, I hear it's mentioned, and I'm not quite sure if it's completely comprehended by everyone who's talking about it. So do you have anything you can do to ease the tension a little bit of people who think it's the worst thing to ever happen?
I would say, at least the project that I've been working on in manufacturing, I can't really speak for other industries, but for manufacturing, like an artificial intelligence kind of just makes me more efficient rather than people getting fired because it replaces positions. I don't think it replaces positions. I think it makes us able to make more programs and make more things, which I think is pretty cool.
Thank you for watching this episode of Gen Z in Manufacturing. Please make sure to like and share the episode. To view previous episodes, visit manufacturing.net. If you are a member of Gen Z and would like to discuss your experience in the manufacturing industry, please get in touch with me, Nolan Beilstein, at nolan@in.com.